Hello everybody, it's Bourbon Bill, and tonight, a very special episode. We're here tonight with a public service announcement to talk about one of the biggest potential rip-offs of 2025, and yes, it does involve Wild Turkey in a way. It's Buff Turkey talk time. I have shied away from making this video because I just didn't have a lot of experience with all of the Buff Turkey bullshit floating around. And if you don't know what Buff Turkey is, let me educate you. Back a long time ago, about 15 to 16 years ago, Wild Turkey got some new stills. They didn't know if they'd be in time, whatever bullshit, transitioning, whatever. They contracted with Buffalo Trace to make them some distillate to their mash bill. They provided nothing else to Buffalo Trace except, here's our mash bill, use it, you sons of bitches, and make us some whiskey. And Buffalo Trace did. So Buffalo Trace made a bourbon to Wild Turkey's mash bill. And then Wild Turkey just never fucking needed it. For 15, 16 years, never needed it. And both of these giants of profit over people have decided that it's not good for either of us. Fuck it. We'll sell it to the NDPs to the highest bidder. And they did. And a lot of people are putting this out under weird-ass labels. Labels you might know, like Nashville Barrel Company, I think, has done some. River Roots has done some. Sealbox has done some. I mean, just there seems to be everybody and their brothers doing what's been called Buff Turkey stuff. And I gotta say, it probably ain't worth the price, folks. Don't get FOMO on this. And we're gonna review one tonight. But Buffalo Trace does artificial scarcity better than anybody else, right? They got plenty of barrels aging. They could give you Eagle Triple Rare for $50 and still make plenty of money, but they don't. They could give you George T. Stagg in 3 times the quantities that they do, but they don't. They could give you Stagg Jr. Well, they have been giving us 4 batches of Stagg Jr., but they could double that output, but they don't, right? So for them to just walk away from bottling this just tells me it ain't that good. Now look, you may say, well, Bourbon Bill, it's not of their profile. Well, we'll find out tonight. But yeah, I get it. They do tend to stick to a certain profile of cherry cola notes, and they do a good job of sticking to that no matter the age and or mash bill 1 or mash bill 2. So, yes, maybe it wasn't to their profile, right? But then that brings us to Wild Turkey. And you think those greedy Italian sons of bitches were going to pass up an opportunity to rob your fucking wallet for subpar juice? You're wrong. They do it all the time. All the time. Let's not forget, Wild Turkey Master's Keep 10-year rye, which drank like a $40 fucking bottle that they charged you $300 for, when like Bullet 12 was putting out 12-year rye for $50, right? Wild Turkey would gladly rip your ass off. So the fact that they passed on it wasn't because it didn't fit their profile. They would have gladly ripped you off. They don't care if it didn't fit their profile. That's bullshit. It was just they didn't want it. So for them to pass on it meant that, like, if this stuff is truly bad, I don't know. Again, I haven't tried, all the barrels. I get it. Certain barrels are probably fucking amazing, right? They probably are. But some of these barrels drink like garbage. Okay, they do. I have had a sample of Sealbox Batch 1. I thought it was utter trash. I wouldn't give you $40, $50 for it. My first thought was, for 15 years old, where the hell's the oak? There's no oak to it. I have not had Sealbox Batch 2. I wouldn't dare invest in it. Send me a sample. Maybe it'll change my mind. I don't know. Again, River Roots puts out really phenomenal picks. Maybe theirs are all good. I don't know. The point is, all this stuff is retailing. And I mean retailing MSRP for $300 to $350. Steep as hell. Capitalizing on, it's Buffalo Trace. Oh, it's Wild Turkey. 15, 16 years old. Get a grip. Get a grip. Russell's Reserve 15 was $275. And although it was phenomenal. Guys, $275 was too expensive for that, I gotta say. You may disagree with me, but the point is, it was. Russell's Reserve 13 was $150, okay? Russell Reserve 15, 200 max. And they charge $275. So these are 300. 300 plus. And then you want to talk about secondary pricing. I mean, phenomenal, right? Just phenomenally high. This is, and a lot of you might be worried, well, gosh, Burn Bill, am I missing, a momentous moment in a lifetime? I don't think so. So, all that to be said, shout out to Mark Goldman. Thank you, sir, for the sample. Buff Turkey, bottled under the old Zach label. Gives a shit, really. That's an old, stupid label. But 16-year-old Buff Turkey at 124 proof. Computes 62% alcohol by volume. I believe this one was 300 plus doll hairs a bottle, too. Let's get into it. Color, decent color, nice and dark. So on paper, look, on paper, you're like, okay, George T. Stagg, 15 years old, MSRP is $120 hairs, but Burn Bill, I never see it for shy of $500-600. And then you're thinking, oh God, Russell Reserve 15, $275 MSRP, but I don't see it for $400 or $500. So suddenly you get the opportunity to buy a $350 bottle of Buff Turkey, and you're like, well, it's the best of both worlds. It's in that proof range I like, nice and meaty. You might be steered wrong. Let's find out. On the nose. What the hell's that? There's nothing here. Some faint caramels, some faint berries. The faintest of cherry cola notes. It's like a watered down George T. Stagg. Because you know why? Because there's no damn oak to speak of. There's just, where's the oak? This literally... Here's Woodford Batch Proof. $150 hairs, Brown Foreman. Yeah, it's a little expensive, but I do enjoy it. Woodford Batch Proof on the nose. God damn, so much better. Now that is fucking sad. Half price MSRP. This has a richer caramel, way richer fruit. Back to the old Zach Buff Turkey. I mean, I'm flabbergasted, honestly, about how fucking bad that smells. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Stagg Jr. Batch 18. 131 proof. On the nose. World's fucking better. I mean, there's a ton of cherry cola, caramels here. There's more oak on this goddamn Stagg Jr. Batch 18 than is on this old Zach 16 here. Like no lie. And you know me, if you watch my videos, I'm not like a Buffalo Trace fanboy by any means. Like, Stagg Jr. isn't my pinnacle of greatness like a lot of you it might be, but it's not for me. I mean, my God, the Stagg Jr., lighter in color, but damn does it smell better. That's how bad some of these are. And you just spent over $300 hairs to find out that yours is trash. Like, holy shit, do you feel violated? Again, maybe some of these barrels are great, but are you willing to risk $300 hairs to find out? That's just a nose. That's just a nose. Let me get on the palate. Hold Zach 16-year Buff Turkey down the hatch. Color me unimpressed. I mean, is it bad? No. Does it drink like it should be sub 100? Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I don't need to tell you, Dickel 15 years better. It has a flavor. It's odd. It's an odd flavor profile. You can tell it has some oak to it, right? But it's just so muted. To me, it drinks... The initial burst of flavor is more Buffalo Tracy, and then the finish is more turkey, if you will. But it kind of reminds me of that, like, You remember that like striped like zebra gum? I don't remember what it's called, but it was that gum that had all the flavors, you know, and like the flavor lasted for like 5-10 seconds, and that was it, you know. It has that initial flavor of that gum. Someone comment what the hell that's called. It has that exact flavor and like this weird artificial fruity note. And it goes into some caramels with a little bit of oak, but again, like you give this to me blind, you're like, Bourbon Bill, take a guess on who made that. I'm gonna nose it. I'm going to tell you it's like a Stag Junior. Okay, and I'm going to guess the age is like 8 years old. And you're like, bro, Bourbon Bill, here's a Stag Junior to compare. In fact, batch 18. I'm going to go, wow, that smells better. And drinks better. And you're going to feel sad that you spend $300. You know, the MSRP of Stag Junior is like $60. I mean, don't you kind of feel like a dumbass? I don't know. This was a very similar reaction. I didn't film it. I don't have it on video, but it's very similar to Seal Box Batch 1 for me. It's like, well, what? It's like a $50 product, you know? And here we are, you know? Woodford Batch Proof. God, way better nose. A lot of banana. Way better palate. And it's shocking to me. So normally if you drink a high age bourbon, right? Like let's say we poured Dickel 15 or this Elijah Craig 18, right? If we drink something like a Woodford Reserve Batch Proof, you might start to feel a little youth to it, right? Because it's not age dated, so it's not super old. But I just drank a 16-year-old Buff Turkey product and felt no youth drinking a non-age dated Woodford batch, which tells me that, like, again, the Buff Turkey's just not that good. So I don't know what to say. Comment below. Maybe you had a fantastic Buff Turkey. It's your goddamn jam. You're all about it. Good for you. Good for you. But for those that are just the average bourbon consumer thinking of spending up for this, the ones I've had, which has been two. It's two. Garbage. Garbage for the price. Gotta say. Do they taste bad? No. But when you consider the price value, F. I didn't want to even give it as low of a grade as like $60, right? But the fact that it doesn't even beat Stag Junior Batch 18, which, I don't know, that wasn't my favorite batch of Stag Junior. And like, it can't outmuscle that. Just fucking sad. And I think that's why, again, maybe there's a couple great barrels, right? But probably on whole, these aren't that good. And that's probably why Turkey, well, certainly it's why Buffalo Trace shied away from it. I think they don't want to soil their name by putting out garbage. Wild Turkey could care less. They probably just thought, oh yeah, on a whole, it's not worth the hassle. I don't know. They don't mind putting out stuff that's not that great. But for some reason, they didn't want it either. So, I don't know. You know, it went to all these NDPs. I'd say use caution. From my experience, if you want a good one, you know, then maybe go with someone you trust. If you really want to have a Buff Turkey for posterity's sake, right? You just gotta have one. Okay, then pick a YouTuber who's done a pick of it, right? Who you trust. You know, some of us exist. Or if you don't have that, go River Roots. I trust them more than a lot of the other NDPs. So if you can't find someone you trust, I'd say go with the River Roots option. But again, it's pricey. And obviously they had to pay a lot to get these barrels. And that's why they're charging so much. But at the end of the day, they're just not worth it. You know, I mean, I can't see any realm of world where I'd willingly pay that kind of money for that. Whereas like if you gave me like, you know, Jacob's Well Batch 2 211, smokes that shit. That's garbage compared to that. That's a way better bourbon. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I'm running out of stuff to say here. Except, guys, do not for 1 second regret not getting one of these bottles. And if you're on the fence, get off the fence and go back in the house. Because you don't need one. Okay, you don't need one. Ain't worth the risk. That's all I gotta say. So if you like what we saw tonight, please like, comment, and subscribe. Consider joining Patreon. We'll see you next time. Have a good evening, everybody.